Now, let's move to supply chain vulnerabilities. Now, when we talk about supply chain vulnerabilities, we do a survey where we wanted to understand that how people are trying to code it, or whether they are using software supply chain as like something which is very important, or are they trying to add AI to it. So here, if you see, there are people, 55% people, which is like majority of the people, they're saying that yes, they're using AI and they are playing around with it. There are people who are not using it. Let me tell you, we're using AI in some way or the other. Or if I have to give a funny example, even I was discussing with one of my friend, others, that we went to buy a toy for our kid, and the toy said, when we went to the toy shop, the toy said it's powered by AI. Now, what it is? I'm sure some of you might have heard about Talking Tom. At least some years back, there was something which was very tricky, interesting, and lovable, and that says that powered by AI. But what it does is, whatever you say, it's just speak back, or it remembers. Now, it's not powered by AI, but anything and everything that we talk about, it says AI, but it's actually not AI. So a lot of times we need to understand what we are dealing with. Now, as an architecture, supply chain architecture, what it is? Supply chain architecture is where we are trying to build an app using different systems, different things, libraries, containers, and we are pushing it to the Git and then making it part of the whole CI/CD pipeline. And now we're talking about adding AI to it, and not just one thing, but for everything that we are trying to add AI. Now, let me actually share some examples and then I'll come to the recommendations, or you'll be just lost on my screen. So, with supply chain ecosystem, how I would say it as, I think Jocelyn has a question. Jocelyn, do you have a question?
No, go ahead. That was a
You
mistake.
have raised your hand. That's why I was asking. Okay, so think of building an LLM is like assembling a robot chef. You give it recipe of which is like a training data. There are fancy utensils, which are like models, and a kitchen where you actually deploy through the platforms. But what if someone swapped the sugar for the salt? Trust me, that has happened once in lifetime. At least it has happened with me. I was cooking something sweet, especially. I have a habit of keeping powdered sugar, so I actually added salt instead of sugar in tea. I'm a big tea lover, and trust me, the moment you take a first sip of your tea and then suddenly you see it's more salty than a sweet, how crazy that would be. So that's where it actually comes into. And we need to fine tune everything, fine tune the risks as well. We cannot just go ahead and just deal with every package that is there. Old packages have a lot of big problems. It's like expired can of beans in your chili, which we don't want. There are licenses which can be confused. Understand what licenses you need. You cannot borrow a song from Taylor Swift and say that it's yours. Let's be very honest. And this we are dealing with a lot of models, and this is specifically if I talk about, I love dinosaurs, so I talk about Jurassic era, and this is like Jurassic era. We are using old model which nobody maintain anymore, and then we are plugging it to the old systems. Would it end well? No, it would not. So keep your systems up to date. Now, especially if I have to talk about mathematical calculations, there have been cases where even the ChatGPT old models did not do the right mathematical calculations. I wouldn't blame ChatGPT for it. It's about how you train your data. Now, over the period, we have seen that it has a model has updated to 4, then 5, and that's being there. But again, you have to understand what kind of model you're using. If you're using weak model, it'll give you the wrong data, which we don't want. And there's a lot that we can talk about this topic, but we need to understand what we are dealing with, who we are dealing with, understand the provenance, understand we need to monitor at each and every step. We don't monitor, we will reveal our sources and suppliers, and not just that, we need to manage them as well.